Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 9 of Failure Frame. This episode had some strange pacing issues for me. It didn't ruin the episode, but it made it a bit harder to really focus on some of what was going on. Sometimes things were zoomed in really close as far as what we were seeing and how it was being portrayed to us, and sometimes we're zoomed further back, which was an interesting directional choice. I did think there were several interesting things that happened here though, so let's jump into it. First off, of course, we have the confrontation against the people who tried to say that they were the ones who took down humanity's strongest and all that jazz, and who have been pretending to be us, whether they knew it or not, for a little while now, and we get some interesting insight on who they are and what their true deal is. We find out that these people are actually an assassins guild that have started pretending to be this cult, and they're using their poisons to try and control the world. And it's interesting to see how they're working with the Duke. They're doing this, they're doing that. But unfortunately for them, they've made one really big mistake, and that is forgetting the reality that when you look after power and you want to go after it and get it for yourself and everything, there are always going to be people who are beneath you, but there are inevitably going to be people who are above you as well. And they've found that because they've ended up facing Touka. And while they might be able to make their poisons look like they are curses and look like things are happening that people don't understand and all that sort of thing, the fact of the matter is Touka can do it better. And he can do it on multiple levels, and he can do it in different ways and everything else. So they have set up this trap for these assassins, but unknown to the assassins, Touka set the trap up to deliberately be detected and to be seemingly failed, right? So that the assassins can then surround Saras and talk to her, and they plan on obviously doing stuff, and of course, because every man who sees her has to want to, like, get it wet. Somebody wants her to have his babies. It's like, I'm so tired of this. I don't get mad at it, but you know what I mean? Every episode, it gets a bit dry, but anyway. That goes down, she deals with them, there's back and forth. She's, of course, not a great liar or deceiver, that's not her forte. But she is able to hold them off long enough for Touka to get in position and to actually enact the real trap. And then everything goes completely freaking haywire. Because people are being paralyzed, people are being poisoned, other people are having darkness cast on them. And then eventually you have Eve coming in and fighting people who cannot move and defend against her. The little girl is staying the hell out of Dodge for obvious reasons. Saras is using her bow. It's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, these people get wrecked. And then the group that was following them eventually get wrecked. And then we get to that pukey Duke. And then he gets wrecked. And he gets wrecked, in my opinion, in one of the most satisfying ways I've ever seen. Because Touka paralyzes him. But it's actually Eve who gets the final, shot at taking his head off. Which I think is perfectly justified given the situation that he put her through. And I think it's really great that we see Eve advance from how she was with the person at the end to how she is here, given the kind of world that they live in. Because while normally I would be on the side of forgiveness and giving people another chance and being nice to people and all that sort of thing, this world just seems to run on absolute degeneracy, so something had to be done, and something was done, and it was done right. We then get a really nice sort of an interlude kind of scene where we get to see some of the characters interacting with each other in varying ways. We get a nice moment between Saras and little girl Lisbeth or whatever, and we have Saras explaining to Lisbeth that she shouldn't really be paying any attention to the scummy crap that she was told at the inn. And then Lisbeth telling Saras that she wants to learn from Saras. So they agree that they'll spend more time wanting to talk and stuff like that. We also get a really cute scene between Saras and Touka where they're all getting ready to go to sleep and stuff. And the two of them are, as they often do, debating who's going to take first watch. And he actually touches her ears, which, I mean, that's just an elf trope. It's cute. And of course, she seems to like that, which is really funny. And then each of them is offering the other their lap to sleep on, and she takes him literally, and I don't think he was quite expecting that, so it kind of took him off guard, which was really funny. And then eventually we see her lie down, and we see him actually cast sleep to help her rest because she has trouble sleeping. And I think it's really cute how we see this aspect of Touka using his abilities not only for like absolutely ruthless revenge, but also where and when he can to actually help people, taking what would normally be seen as a negative status effect and actually using it to positive effect, which I thought was really clever. Lastly, of course, we have a bit of time spent with the goddess and the students who are getting ready to fight the Demon King's army. We see that certain people are training together. We also see that the training the students are getting in general is going to start changing from just being generalized training to actually being like live combat training, which is definitely going to be alarming for some people. And we see that the goddess is getting very impatient to get the show on the road, and that it sounds like the students are actually going to be heading for where Touka and his group are going to be heading, which is definitely an interesting thing. Oh, and one final thing I wanted to talk about that almost slipped my mind, but I just caught it, is I really like the idea of them talking about naming their mercenary group something to do with like the Lord of Flies, because there are different ways you could think about that term. You could think about it like it's Lord of the Flies and how vicious this world is and how hierarchies and controls and manipulations and betrayals and stuff are going on. I like that one. But I also think it's interesting because of the way that the words float off of the tongue, that the term Lord of Flies could also end up sounding like someone saying Lord of Lies, which makes a lot of sense when you think about the way that Touka's strength isn't purely about his abilities, but also about how he is able to utilize situations and people and then manipulate them to whatever result that he actually wants them to have. So I thought that was interesting. Anyway, I did enjoy the episode. As I said, I did find it slightly disjointed, but I mean, sometimes that has to happen for a plot to move forward, so that's perfectly acceptable. But these are just my thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking, so drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. See you later. Bye!